What about Daddy Cool? I don't know. Anyway. Hi, so if you're new here, I'm Karinsky23, and basically I've been trying to learn the violin. So quick story about me. Growing up, I always thought I was behind everyone else. I don't know if anyone else ever felt that way. Like, when I was 5 or whatever, I would tell my mom or dad, probably a little older than 5 actually, I don't know, I don't really remember the specific age, but I would be like pretty young, like let's say 8, and I would want to do dance lessons or piano or a new sport, and all the kids, it seemed, because I lived in a pretty like middle class area, so all of the kids' parents like put them in sports or dance or music like when they were 2, because it was like the neighborhood I lived in. Ugh, those people, they're all like, we were not rich, but a lot of the people in that town were well off, and some of the most obnoxious people to live around sometimes, because sometimes they just can be a little bit judgmental of people who aren't on their level, or they just don't understand. Anyway, they're good people, but there was some obnoxious people too. And in this town, everyone would like start their kid in ballet or basketball or whatever they wanted their kid to do when they were like 2. And my parents were just normal, average parents. They weren't like fancy parents who teach their kids 5 languages by the time they're 2. They're just normal parents. So when I was like 8, maybe, I wanted to join, like, let's say hip hop or something, or ballet. And when I got there, all the kids there had already been doing it since they were like 2, and they were better than me, and they were more advanced than me. And I thought, man, I'll never be good at this. I'm already 8. They started when they were 2. So anything I ever wanted to do, I pretty much had that same attitude. And I would try new things, and then those new things would be hard because I've never done them before. That's how it is with a new thing. But as a kid, I didn't know that. And my parents didn't really know how to express that to me, I guess, in a way that made sense. So I would just be like, oh, I'm not as good as these 8-year-olds who've been doing it since they were 2 or 5. So I guess I'll never be good. And then I would usually just quit because it was much easier to stay home and play video games. Video games were always good to me. I've never been like super good at video games, but I've never been super bad. That's not true. I've been super bad at Dark Souls. And when I started Just Dance, I was also super bad, but that was a long time ago. But I'm still pretty bad. The point is, what's the point? My point is that I used to have a mentality of like, if you're not good at it right away and you suck, why embarrass yourself? Just quit. That was my attitude. And I did not like being bad at things or having to try super hard at things. It was embarrassing. But I'm not having that attitude anymore. I'm saying no to that attitude because I do actually want to be able to do things. And you can never ever do something if you wait until you're as good as the people who started when they were 2. You might never be as good as that person who started when they're 2, but you can be pretty good if you just keep doing it. And sometimes you can surpass the people who started when they were 2 if you keep a steady action, and maybe that person who started when they're 2 doesn't, or they do something wrong. I don't know. Point is, don't give up just because it's hard or difficult or you feel like you're not as good as the other people. And that's why I do Just Dance, even though I'm not that great at it. I do it anyway. And that's why I'm now learning the violin. So I always thought the violin was a really cool instrument. I've always heard that it's really hard to learn. So I never really gave it much thought because my first instrument I started learning was piano, and I thought, well, I should probably figure out how to do the piano before I do violin. But it's actually kind of expensive to buy a piano, and I don't do keyboards, okay? If you get me a little $200 keyboard with weighted keys, that is complete bullshit. I will not play that shit. I will never play that stupid keyboard. But if I see a piano, I will sit at that thing for hours, but I can't afford or fit a piano in my house. So piano hasn't happened for me. Eventually I'd like to get like a digital piano, which is like a keyboard, except it actually feels and looks kind of like a piano. However, they still cost about the same as a piano, which is like $1,000. And I just don't have an extra $1,000 in my back pocket. Surprise. Anyway, I do have $15, which is what it costs to rent a violin. You can't rent grandbaby pianos, unfortunately. But you can rent violins. And they fit much easier in your house. Anyway, instead of waiting till I can buy a piano, I decided I'm going to learn violin. I always wanted to, and it seems fun. And I don't care if it's challenging. I'm going to give it a try. And it's very challenging. And some people say it's one of the most challenging instruments, if not the most challenging. But whatever, those people are probably wrong because I'm going to do it. I mean, it's all perspective, right? So I'm going to show you what I've learned so far in the violin because I have not learned very much at all. So I have learned that this is the body of the violin. Okay, obvious. These are called F holes because they kind of look like cursive Fs. All right, this is the bridge, this little piece of wood. So some of these things are similar to a guitar. You have 4 strings. Okay, so that's a little bit different than a guitar. And this string is E, this is A, this is D, and this is G. Okay, I like to think of it as eat apples daily, God. Or good, or got it? I don't know. I really don't know what to say for the G. Eat apples daily. Got it? Alright. That was cheesy. These are called the fine tuners, and if it's not super out of tune, you can use these to tune it, and then if it's really out of tune, you can use these top tuning picks to tune it. Okay, and I believe this is your chin rest. Alright. This I think is called the neck. Not 100% sure. Neck, probably. Alright. Yeah, oh, and these little colors are little sticker. It's a sticker you put on there to show you the frets because it doesn't actually have like the built-in frets like a guitar. So you can buy this and have it put on if you're a beginner like me to help you see where the frets are. Very helpful. Alright, and then this is an extra device you can buy called the shoulder rest, and it helps a lot to hold it, especially for a newbie. So to put the shoulder rest on, you want this little curve. The curve should face down, so you kind of want it like as close to a rainbow as it can be. They have like little hinges on them that attach to this ridge. You put it on one end and then pull it up on the other side. Okay. So it looks kind of like that. That goes right on your shoulder. See, shoulder thing on the shoulder. And then your chin goes there. Kind of like you're going to bed on your violin. Move my necklace out of the way. You can hold it up with just your chin and your shoulder rest. Alright. Next, you want to make sure you're holding your bow properly. So the way that my teacher taught me to hold the bow is you have this little black area with a white dot. This is called the frog. Don't know why, but it's a frog. So we can kind of consider this the frog, and this rubber area you could call the lily pad, just for funsies. Take your 2 middle fingers, these ones, put them on the frog. Take your index finger and rest it kind of draped over the lily pad. Then this little black, on this little metal device, there's a black ring around it. You want your pinky finger just touching the tip of that black ring. Different people hold the bow different ways, but this is the way my teacher taught me. And then you put your thumb in between this little ridge here. And you want your thumb to be bent like this. It's very important your thumb is bent. I'm not sure why, but someone could tell me if they know. So, whoop, don't fall there, Violin. You are probably valuable, I would assume. I don't know, I'm only renting you for $15 a month. Okay. So that's kind of the hold there. It feels really awkward at first. Okay. Now, the most awkward, hardest part is holding the violin because you hold it straight out. You want your arm to be straight out to the side, like that. Okay, then you're gonna play right between the bridge and the thing that I said is probably the neck. And you want to try to play one string at a time for, you know, just starting. Oh, the other thing is when you're holding the neck of the violin, you don't want your hand palm up like this. You want there to be space, and you want kind of like this shape with your thumb in your hands. Your fingers will eventually be going on these strings. But see how like my hand naturally comes up to where my palm's touching the neck? You don't want that. You want to pretend you have a little ball in between your hand and kind of the neck. Otherwise, you're going to end up hurting your hand. So you want, this is the proper form. So what I thought I could do maybe is like hold a little ball in my hand. But most likely I will drop the ball. But my goal would be to be able to have like a ball there and not put my hand against. Yeah, so I'm just trying to share with you everything I've learned so far. Don't take it to heart as like the best way to play violin or the absolute correct way, because I've only had 2 lessons so far and I'm just sharing what I learned. So that's how you hold the bow. Kind of holding it. It feels really weird. That would be the G. D. A. E. Okay. So that's the basics of the different parts of the violin. Now I'm going to show you some of the strings and a song that I'm learning. Okay, so I'm an absolute beginner, so I'm starting with a simple beginner song, which is Twinkle Twinkle Little Star. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Goes like that. All right. So I have this violin book here that my teacher gave me. It's called Suzuki Violin School. And I kind of bent it because it doesn't really fit in my violin case otherwise. And I don't want to carry a separate bag just for this. this book kind of has